The seeds of ambition. Escobar's early days were marked by a relentless drive. Pablo Escobar, born in rural Colombia, yearned for power and control over his destiny. He craved wealth and influence, dreaming of a life far removed from poverty. Escobar started small, a petty thief on the streets of Medellín, learning the ropes of crime. He graduated to car theft, then bigger crimes, each step bringing him closer to his goals. Ambition burned in his eyes, a foreshadowing of the chaos and power he would later wield. Escobar saw an opportunity in the burgeoning drug trade, a chance to rise above his humble beginnings. Cocaine, a new plague, promised immense profits. He seized the moment with ruthless determination. With ruthless efficiency, he built a network of producers, smugglers, and enforcers, creating an empire. His name, whispered in fear, became synonymous with cocaine, a legend of infamy and power. The Cocaine King, building a drug empire. Escobar's empire grew exponentially. He controlled every aspect of the cocaine trade. From the coca fields in the Andes to the streets of Miami, his reach was absolute. Money flowed in, unimaginable wealth. Escobar became a billionaire, one of the richest men alive. He bought loyalty with his wealth and enforced it with brutality. His cartel, the Medellín cartel, became a force unto itself. Politicians, judges, police, all were on his payroll. Those who resisted faced swift and brutal consequences. Reign of terror, violence and fear in Medellín. Medellín trembled under Escobar's rule. Violence became a way of life. Car bombs exploded, shattering the peace. Innocent bystanders, caught in the crossfire, became collateral damage. Escobar's enemies, real and perceived, met gruesome ends. Judges and journalists who dared oppose him were assassinated. Politicians who challenged his authority met the same fate. Fear became a weapon, more potent than any bullet. It kept the city in line, silencing dissent and solidifying his power. The world takes notice. International pressure mounts. Escobar's reign of terror could not last forever. The world took notice of the carnage. The United States, flooded with his cocaine, demanded action. Pressure mounted on the Colombian government to act against him. A joint task force was formed, dedicated to bringing Escobar down. The hunt was on. Escobar, once untouchable, was now a target. He responded with characteristic violence, unleashing his sicarios on anyone he deemed a threat. The country descended further into chaos as the battle between the cartel and the government raged. A desperate fugitive, Escobar, on the run. The walls closed in on Escobar. His safe houses were raided. His allies turned against him. He became a fugitive on the run from the very authorities he once controlled. His family, once living in luxury, went into hiding. He evaded capture time and again, using his network of informants and his ruthlessness. But the pressure was relentless. The once mighty kingpin was now a desperate man, fighting for his survival. Downfall of a kingpin. The end of Escobar's reign. Escobar's reign of terror finally reached its end. His empire, built on fear and violence, crumbled. On December 2nd, 1993, he was cornered in a Medellín barrio. The manhunt had been relentless. A firefight erupted, the sounds of gunfire echoing through the streets. It was a battle that would decide the fate of a city. When the smoke cleared, Escobar lay dead, a bullet in his head. The once untouchable kingpin was no more. His death was met with relief and jubilation. The people of Medellín could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Medellín, for so long under his shadow, dared to hope again. The city began to dream of a brighter future. The world celebrated the fall of a criminal mastermind. News of his death spread like wildfire. But the scars of his reign, the violence and the corruption, would take generations to heal. The legacy of his terror lingered. Legacy of violence. Escobar's enduring impact. His reign of terror left an indelible mark on Colombia, a country that still grapples with the aftermath of his actions. Escobar's death marked the end of an era, the fall of a man who once wielded immense power and instilled fear across the nation. The Medellín cartel, once all-powerful, shattered into rival factions. The power vacuum left behind led to further violence and chaos as new groups vied for control. The cocaine trade continued, but Escobar's empire was no more. His legacy, however, remained. The drug trade evolved, becoming more fragmented and harder to combat. He became a folk hero to some, a symbol of resistance against the establishment. Stories of his generosity to the poor contrasted sharply with his brutal tactics. But for most, he was a reminder of a dark and violent chapter in Colombia's history. The pain and suffering he caused are etched into the collective memory of the nation. The scars of his violence, the countless lives lost, and the corruption he engendered serve as a cautionary tale. His influence permeated every level of society, from the streets to the highest echelons of power. Pablo Escobar's story is a reminder of the seductive nature of power. the corrosive effects of greed, and the devastating consequences of violence. His life and death continue to be a subject of fascination and study. It is a story that continues to fascinate and horrify, a reminder of the human capacity for both great evil and enduring hope. Medellín has transformed, striving to overcome its past and build a brighter future.